Green with the super chat says Jay is known for his flow, but those 444 beats weren't great, and Jay sounded like he was just talking on them. Yeah,
He
but
was.
not conversational Jay. Yeah, it was. It was like it was almost like he was trying to find the beat, trying to catch the beat. Just you run with the super chat says, R.I.P. Dave. A very slept on album from De La Soul is Grind Day. Yeah, people love Grind. I love Grind Day. My favorite De La Soul joint is The Stakes is High. Great song. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, what producer today do you think is capable of giving Jay one more classic album? Can I say his name without us getting flagged?
I say we're probably gonna lose some money if you say his name.
I won't say his name. It's the guy
We all
who
know it.
the guy who has Adidas losing $1.3 billion.
Lucifer.
That's his
Lucifer.
only option. That's his
Come
best option.
on.
It's his best
Oh,
option
go
because if he
see.
goes Just Blaze, the shit's gonna sound like '03, and Jay don't want to do that.
I mean,
And if he goes Alchemist, I'm sorry, I don't think the records are big enough. You know what I'm saying?
you want to know what I did? I sincerely thought this the other day. Well, if Pharrell can take on Pusha again, I was listening to Excuse Me Miss, and I was like, you want to know what? They should have did more of that. Should have did more Excuse Me Miss. That grown up like version of Jay, like I like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's still conversational Jay. Everybody's like, he's no item. Please don't like him. He don't wife him. He one nights him. Now she don't like him. She never met him. Groupies try to take advantage of him. He won't let them. That's conversational Jay.
Yo, that
That's
verse is
conversational
great.
Jay.
He don't need him, so she treats him like he
Like
treats
he
him.
treats him.
Better him than me.
He's mad
She
at
don't
that.
agree
She's
with
not
that.
having that.
It's
So
great.
those opposites attract like mag and gnats.
She
It's
sees
like,
more
no,
than a
that's
Benz wagon, a
conversational
friends
Jay.
tagging along, a flashy nigga bragging on the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets a glimpse of Sean and she likes that. He two ways
Two
her.
ways her.
So she writes
right
back. Smiley faces after all of her phrases. Yeah, that's a
You
dope
wish you
verse.
won, or I'm caught in the matrix, but fuck it, let the fish burn. See, he's
Red
still
or
being his
green
lyrical
peas.
self too.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's a dope
Right.
verse.
No, it's a dope
It's
verse.
a dope verse on
So-
a hit record. And Jay's good for that. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the best at that. Him and Big. 36 Chambers with the super chat says De La Soul didn't produce breakout superstars. They stayed a group, respected the craft, and without being flashy, and worked for the love of the music only. Definitely. Can't take that away. And yeah, stay in a collective and stay in a group. That's something you don't see in music anymore. Funk Creek with the super chat says, I know. Yeah, that's a dope record. He says, should have been a hit like Me, Myself, and I. Do you guys know if it was released as a single? I think it was technically one of the first singles, I believe. I'm going to have to go back and look.
I would have to check. I don't want to speak on that. I'm not totally certain.
Yeah, Inspector with the super chat says, R.I.P. Trugoy, a silent legend. Definitely. Those guys paved the way for so much creatives that's out here, like the Pharrells, which go on to, create the Tyler the Creators. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, come on, Mike, Baby Be Mine was the worst song on Thriller. But it's a great song. I could see you saying it's the worst song, quote unquote.
No, that's like I told you. That's like "Baby I'm a Star" is the worst song on Purple Rain.
And I love that record.
That's a banger, though.
Yeah.
Right.
"Baby Be Mine," if it's released, let's just say it's on Off the Wall and it's released in an isolated way, that's a classic. Like when you hear "Baby Be Mine" come in and the way he comes in on that, that's classic Michael and Rod Temperton. It's you listen to that and rock with you back to back. That's that Michael. Now, obviously, on Thriller,
it's got an innocence to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I listen to Rock With You and I think of 21, 22-year-old Michael Jackson, I'm like, that's the perfect song for him. You know what I mean?
It feels like it might have been the first record recorded.
Probably, and it feels like you said, innocent Mike. But Thriller is evolved Mike, and somehow Baby Be Mine is on this evolved Michael album. It's kind of like Spaghetti Junction on Stankonia or something. Andrell Green with the $50 super chat. Appreciate the love, man. He said, can y'all discuss who has the better lower tier albums? Nostradamus, Street's Disciple, Lost Tapes 2, Nasir, The Firm, QB's Finest, Hip Hop is Dead versus Kingdom Come, Magna Carta, Blueprint 2, Volume 3, Everything is Love, and both albums with Perv Kelly. Huh. Well, the R. Kelly albums really bring Jay down a lot in this discussion. I think that between Nostradamus and what does Nostradamus go against? What do you think Nostradamus should go against?
It should go against the one that's closest to it in time frame, which would be either
Blueprint 2. The Blueprint 2? The Blueprint 2 is better than Nostradamus. I would put Street's Disciple and the Blueprint 2 against each other. Those are double discs. I got the Blueprint 2 over that too.
I got Street's Disciple over Blueprint 2.
I don't like
the second disc of Blueprint 2 at all. Like, I think there's stuff on both of the Street's Disciples discs, even though I think both albums are inconsistent. Like, I think there's stuff on there that I enjoy. Even some of the happy shit I enjoy, like Virgo with Dougie Fresh and Luda.
Blueprint 2 has Some People Hate. It has Excuse Me Miss.
I don't love Some People Hate like you do.
That record's great. It has the You Don't Know remix. It's kind of cheating, but whatever. Meet the Parents. It has I Show You How to Do This, son.
I don't love that either.
What?
I don't love it. It's just good.
No, that's a great record.
It's good.
It's got Hovey Baby on it.
I like Hovey Baby.
He's talking his shit on there.
Yeah, he's talking his shit on Hovey
give
Baby.
me the Blueprint too, man. And I like Sisters and Bitches too.
Nah, see, that's what I mean. You're going too far.
You know my name and the company my own.
See,
you like my style.
I like Nazareth Savage. I like Street's Disciple. I like Virgo. I like Suicide Bounce. I like Just a Moment. Rest of My Life. Know My Style. Thief's Theme.
Love Thief's Theme.
Remember the Times. What else was on there? Sekou Stories on there. Like, I just prefer some of those records. Yeah, Sekou Stories might be his most slept on story.
It's a dope record. But yeah, I got Blueprint 2 over that. Now, I don't know what to really put Nostradamus up against. I think when you talk about time frame, it's probably
not as bad.
It's probably fair to put Volume 3 up against Nostradamus.
A lot of it is that, like, well, first of all, Life We Chose, and I've said this. Now go listen to how the previous album started off and tell me that that's up to par.
When you talk about Nostradamus, yeah.
Like, tell me it's up to par with New York State of Mind, The Message, New York State of Mind Part 2.
So you got Volume 3 over Nostradamus. I do.
I would have to, just off the first two records. The first two records are Life We Chose and Nostradamus. I was like, what are we doing here? It's like, what are we doing here?
And we got, the Lost Tapes 2. What would that go up against?
That would go up against one of them whack Beyonce and Jay albums and one of them whack R. Kelly albums.
The Beyonce and Jay album's not whack.
I know, it is.
Now the Best of Both Worlds albums are whack.
No, those
are whack.
Those are awful.
I don't think Everything Is Love is whack.
Hold on. You got to take QB's Finest out of there. QB's Finest is not a bad album. You want to know what?
We would have to put QB's Finest up against the Dynasty.
No, we're gonna go give him his money's worth out of his super chats though, because I want to pull up QB's Finest playlist.
Okay.
Because it's like when people say that,
what about Hip Hop Is Dead? Should that go up against Kingdom Come or Magna Carta? I think they're really close.
Kingdom Come is closer, so.
Yeah. Damn. I don't know, bro. I might go Kingdom Come on that. I'm picking a lot of Jay albums out of this.
I don't know how you're doing that though, but hold on. You think what's better than Kingdom Come?
I think Kingdom Come's better than Hip Hop Is Dead.
Oh no, you're bugging.
I don't know.
Like Hip Hop Is Dead has actually Black Republican on it. It has Hustlers with Game with the Dr. Dre beat. That alone is better than everything on Kingdom Come.
Well, Kingdom Come has the Kingdom Come song.
That's not better than those records. And it's got Can't Forget About You on there.
Can't Forget About You is very nice. I will put Can't Forget About You and Lost Ones up against each other.
I'd still take Can't Forget About You.
What about Show Me What You Got?
Hold on. What does he have for Hustlers on Kingdom Come?
Show Me What You Got.
Like I said, I'm going to say that again, and you're going to give me a real answer. What does he have for Hustlers?
We should Patreon that one. I want to Patreon that one real quick. Hold on. Let's go song for song then.
Hold on. First of all, I want to read off the song list to the bridge. To the Queensbridge album. The Bridge 2001.
Okay.
With everybody from the Bridge on there.
Everybody.
We Live This with Havoc, Big Noyd, and Roxanne Shante.
Mm-hmm.
Real Niggas with Nas and Ruck. Find Your Wealth, Nas. Straight Outta QB. Couldn't keep the Straight Outta QB. That's got Cormega and Jungle and Poet on it.
Mm-hmm.
Uchi Wally. Our Way with Capone and Noriega. Fire with Nature. Power Rap Freestyle with Prodigy. Street Glory, Nas. And Pop. We Break Bread with Lord Black, Littles, Craig G. Money. Self-Conscious with Prodigy and Nas. I done told you about that, Mike. Die For, Infamous Mob. Kid in the PJs. You could have kept that. Teenage Thug. The end is like the last few songs, but no, Mike. Like up until like the first 14 songs, it's like, no, that's not a bad album.
All right, let's go to Kingdom Come. Oh My God. You got Kingdom Come. Show Me What You Got. Lost Ones. Do You Want to Ride with John Legend. I didn't love that record. 30-something. Mama I Made It. Anything, which is probably one of Jay-Z's worst records. And followed by, I think, personally, his worst record, Hollywood, featuring Beyonce. It's a bad record. Trouble. Dig a Hole. Minority Report. Beach Chair.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sound bad.
Yeah.
Okay, Money Over Bullshit. I like Money Over Bullshit, actually. You Can't Kill Me. Man. Carry On Tradition. I thought it was pretty dope. Where Are They Now? Keep that. Hip Hop Is Dead. Keep that. Who Killed It? Keep that.
Who Killed It might be Nas's worst song. It's one of them.
It's bottom 10 for sure. It's a bottom 10 record. Bottom 10 record.
We got to put that up against Hollywood.
I think that Who Killed It is arguably worse than everything on Nostradamus, except for maybe Big Girl. That's for those of you that keep saying that this is a Nas channel. We're very, very fair over here. No,
I like Big Girl more than I like Who Killed It. I can't even listen to Who Killed It, but I understand what he was doing conceptually, but it just didn't translate.
Don't nobody care about that, okay? Like, don't nobody care. It's either good or it's not. Black Republican.
Incredible record.
I mean, it's their best collaboration.
By far.
Not Going Back with Khalees. I was cool with that record. It was actually pretty cool. Still Dreaming with Kanye is dope.
I love that record.
Yeah. Hold Down the Block is dope. Blunt Ashes is dope. Let There Be Light is dope. Play On Player. I like Play On Player. People didn't like the Nas Snoop collab. I like Play On Player. Can't Forget About You. Hustlers. Hope. See, the second half of this album, it's like from 7 on, he starts hitting. That's what I'm saying. Hope at the end where Nas is just freestyling a cappella. Like, no, like he's, yeah.
I need to go back. And you know what? This is the thing. I think I've listened to Jay's bottom tier albums more than I've listened to Nas's bottom tier albums. So right now, I would probably put Jay's bottom tier albums above, but I need to go back and listen.
Yeah, like that stretch that I listen to this stretch on Hip Hop Is Dead. Black Republican, Not Going Back, Still Dreaming, Hold Down the Block, Blunt Ashes, Let There Be Light, Play On Player, Can't Forget About You, Hustlers, Hope. That's a nice little stretch of songs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's any like truly like classic Nas stuff in there, but those are all dope ass records.
Let me get to these super chats, and then I'm gonna finish what we were talking about. When you walked away, I want to address something that 007 said well. Mad Max in the super chat says, I disagree with 007. I prefer Riri over Beyonce, but that whack performance she did solidified Beyonce is greater than her, even though her music is better. All right, this is what I want to say, and that's kind of where I was going to go with 007. Rihanna, respectfully, is not on Beyonce's level. And I know that, we kind of, I guess, put Beyonce somewhere else because she doesn't really make music for us, per se. And when I say us, I mean probably men specifically, right? I don't have to listen to her music to recognize the talent. I didn't really expect too much from Rihanna's Super Bowl halftime show because she's not known to be a performer on that level. Can somebody tell me her most memorable performances like that? So I think when we're talking about an individual talent as a vocalist, a dancer, a performer who's going to put on a show, they're not even on the same level. Now, did Rihanna get handed maybe some better songs than Beyonce? Sure. I think Solange might have some better songs than Beyonce too, but there's no way in hell I'm going to say Solange is better than Beyonce. I actually like some of Solange's music more than Beyonce's, but there's no way
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
not a
sit here and
question of
tell
that.
you that she's better than Beyonce because I like some of her songs. Rihanna's not even close to Beyonce. Let's just keep it a buck. She's not.
I'm very, very surprised at you, Mike. I actually think, I mean, first of all, I prefer Solange's music to Beyonce's music on a personal level, although I get what you're saying. I don't think Beyonce's made anything remotely as good as A Seat at the Table by Solange.
Hmm.
That shit is all-time great fire. So as an artist, I do think Solange is a better artist, just not a bigger one. You know what I'm saying? As far as like album quality is concerned, she is better than her sister, in my opinion. As far
Wow.
as no album, as far as album and song making ability, yes, I believe that because she doesn't need the machine or any of that behind her to make something like A Seat at the
But
Table.
like you just said about the De
Those are
La
old
Soul.
Raphael Sadiq records she took and pimped out. Like,
Well, I mean, Raphael Sadiq made Cut It too. So I mean, but look, just like what you just said with De La, there is an art into making big records too.
no, and that's why I
And
said
Solange can't
that's why I
make
said
Put a Ring on It. She can't.
no, no, and that's why I said better artists in terms of like giving you songs on an album, but maybe not a bigger one, as in like she don't do both.
I
And
don't
she's
think
not the performer
Beyonce's
either.
I don't think Beyonce's focus is to make full conceptual albums. I think this time around, and it's probably why her camp is so heated in the fact that she didn't win Album of the Year, because I think this time she actually tried to do that. But that's not
Some
where her
people,
strengths are. Her
well, some
strengths
people don't
are in
want to
making
hear that from
bangers.
certain people, quite
Exactly.
frankly.
Exactly. She could make the same album that Solange makes. And we don't want to hear that from her. Solange can make the same album that she makes, that Beyonce makes. They don't want to hear that from her. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Well, here's the thing. She makes kind of like she makes a lot of empowerment for women, like theme music for you to dance to. And what happens, Mike, is that well, she's in her 40s like we are because she's the same age as us. Beyonce is.
mhm.
And what happens with that is that well, your following, gets a little bit older and they stop putting in heels on and going out as much and shaking their ass as much to your songs and
Yeah.
they done got married and had kids and settled down to you know what I'm saying? Like that. And so and listen to what I'm saying. So when you don't make a piece of work stylistically that connects to people, like how about this? This is like she keeps making the Rain style album, but never has had Thriller or Purple Rain style results. But she ain't got no off the wall or sign of the times like creative like type of master. You get what I'm saying?
I think
Either
even on top
that
of
the
that
artist
though,
connect to, that like the artist audience like connects to like forever, like the way we connect to My Life by Mary J. Blige forever. Like
no,
Mary
no,
couldn't even
definitely.
sing. Like Mary's a better singer on Share My World, and people still were talking about My Life when Share My World came out.
Well, you know what
And
this
Share My World had more hits.
this the thing too. I think that obviously Michael's the mark for her, based on how she carries herself. But the thing with Mary, she connects with people, and Mary actually talks to people. Mary does interviews. You
That
know where
matters.
Mary's coming from.
No,
Mary's
that
real,
matters on the
and
back
that
nine,
matters.
Mike.
It does.
Like when you're on the front nine and you're everything and
Mm-hmm.
you're the shit,
Yeah,
that's fine. But when you're on the back nine of it, when your audience and
that
your fan
stuff
base is
matters.
older, that shit matters.
Yeah.
Those albums. So that's what I'm saying about
You
like,
can't
well,
be
no,
mystic forever. Like, I mean, I just
right?
saw Anita Baker perform last night, 65 years old. And one of the
Huh.
big
Did
things,
you
other than
apologize?
the fact that she sounded incredible, was how she was connecting to the audience. And you know what I mean? Like, that stuff matters on the back end. It does.
Well, you have to make the records and the albums that connect too. So it's
Yeah.
like, look at it like this. Well, let's talk about Anita for a minute. I hope you apologize. Mike should have been like Mike from According to Hip Hop. I don't know what we did, but we apologize.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
stop blocking
She
us on
did
Twitter.
apologize as well. And Babyface, he went out there and performed Not Gonna Cry. Since he wrote that, he did a whole set of his stuff and stuff that he wrote. It was incredible.
Right, because he did break a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
But so this is what I mean about the double pull off, and that's what I mean when I was saying, well, she keeps making Purple Rain and Thriller, but not with Purple Rain or Thriller results. Well, it's like, well, now is it connecting?
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
what connected? Because this is what I'm saying. Like think about this. Well, the women that were shaking their ass to stuff like Crazy in Love, well, they're 45, 50 now.
Yeah, it turns into nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? And and you can't. I mean, it lasts, but that's like you said. That's when you got to start connecting with your audience
Right.
because nostalgia is built up on the fact that your audience connects with you, and with
How
that
about this?
disconnect, these songs kind of get compartmentalized as something I did in 2003. You know what I mean?
So listen to what I'm saying though. So when you make something like a Be Happy, like no, that connects forever.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy in Love
Timeless
doesn't connect
things.
forever. And so when you're
Yeah.
saying like Rihanna's not as big as Beyonce, it's like, oh well, Mike, how big is it really? Because it's
Well,
like
it's not
really.
about big. No, no. I think numerically, I would be. I mean, that would be false. I mean, obviously, Rihanna's as big as
So you
Beyonce.
think Beyonce is
I'm
just a
saying
better
she's just
artist?
not better. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Like, oh, so you mean like vocally, performance wise, all
yeah.
those things? I don't think she's ever been a better vocalist. So this is what I'm about to say. I don't think she's ever been better vocally. She's definitely not better on stage. But Mike, Rihanna connects to
She
people in
connects.
a way that Beyonce doesn't. And so when you're
That's
saying
fair.
that it's not comparable, I'm telling you, it's like, no. Rihanna's actually closer to having that innovative genius on both sides that Michael Jackson and Prince has than Beyonce has because she's got those big records and big songs,
I think she
and
can't put it on stage though.
she's got a connectivity to her audience.
I don't
She
think
does.
she could put it on stage though. I would compare her
Maybe
more
not on
so.
stage.
I would compare her more so to a Madonna in that light. You know what I mean? Like you
Maybe
got the
no, that might be
records
more fair.
and you
That might
have
be
the
more fair.
image and all that, but you can't put it on stage like them.
Okay, so maybe like that, but that's what I'm saying. Madonna connects though.
She does.
Because she's real and she's authentic, and she's not afraid to speak. You get what I'm
No,
saying?
no, that's real.
No, and that connects to people. They're like, oh, this white bitch is real.
J.I. Designs with the super chat says, so Brady, MJ, and LeBron have never hounded refs ever. Come on, let's be real. The stands get a majority of the calls. The stars get a majority of the calls. Obviously, the stars get the calls. I'm saying at the last minute at the game when you're supposed to play with 2 minutes left, none of those people you name are asking the refs to bail them out
Listen,
of game-winning situations to get a championship.
listen. All we're asking is that think about this. If they let that play go, there's like a minute and 40 seconds left.
Yeah.
They're going to kick a 25-yard field goal that's probably going to go in. The Eagles are going to have 90 seconds to get in field goal range. Don't you think that's exciting and how a Super Bowl should go? Because what are the chances really that they're going to go down and score a touchdown in those 90 seconds? Not likely. But the idea that we could have like had have our second Super Bowl overtime game, and they just kind of snatched it away about that play. It's not like you pushed the man to the ground, and Patrick Mahomes overthrew that ball.
I was gonna say that's the bigger deal to me is the fact that you knew you overthrew this man, and you're like, oh no, let me get that back because you know what I mean?
They
Like,
just milked the clock out and just like I mean, it just literally sucked the air out of like that was going down as like a top 10-ish type Super Bowl, and they
because
just like
if he doesn't yell like that, does the
do they even
referee
throw
feel
that flag?
compelled to
Because
throw
where
the
the flag comes
out?
from, it came from the guy that was looking at him from the opposite view. It didn't
Exactly.
come from behind Mahomes. It came from in front of him. So the person that is watching him point was the person that threw the flag. People do understand that, right?
Right. Mad Max at the super chat says, "LOL, is Joe Montana and Brady Mahomes not even Elway or Peyton? He
Right. He's not even Elway yet. Elway went to 5 Super Bowls and won 2.
He's skipping over people, right? He's wherever Rodgers or Aikman or Cunningham are, or Warren.
Yeah.
Warren
He's where
Moon.
he's where Aikman and Steve Young are. That's what I'm saying. Like right now, and I think that's a good place to be at such a young age. He's more in like Steve Young, Troy Aikman territory. That's more like I mean, respectfully, it's more like 12 to 25. You know,
J.I. Designs with the super chat says the Eagles had 2 fumbles in the game. One got recalled by the refs, which was bogus, and their defense had no sacks. The Chiefs are the resilient team. The Chiefs are a resilient team. Give them their props. Yeah, it was a great game. I just say when it's down to 2 minutes, I don't think that the refs should be in position to call a game on some tic-tac stuff. I mean, you shouldn't want it like that.
Here's what's wrong with it. The fact that we can pull up and have a conversation about it is the problem because we're talking about the refs and what they did instead of talking about the players who make the plays that make the game exciting, that make us watch. That was the problem of throwing the flag.
And then it happened 2 weeks before with Mahomes running out of bounds while he was just running free.
See, okay, no. See, now let's get to that. No, that was a little more egregious.
It was because he
And here's what I'm
extended his
saying.
hand.
Well, both of his feet were just clearly out of bounds. He was a full 2 steps out of bounds. It wasn't even like a half a step or a step. He was a full 2 steps out of bounds, and he hit the man. That's a dumb play by the defense. That shit right there was football that just happened, and they didn't let them play football on the last play of the game. It's like, ugh.
007 with the super chat says, "Nah, Mad Max, understand the narrative that's being driven and notched in her belt. Rihanna's performed at the Super Bowl pregnant. That plays different than the MTV Music Award. LOL, Mike, tell the stats." Well, you know, obviously everybody in the world's watching the Super Bowl halftime. But this is what I will say about the pregnant performance. I do think that it compromised the quality of the performance, and I do think that on such a huge stage, if you're about the performance first, you might do what Beyonce did with Coachella the first time when she was pregnant and say, you know what, I'm pregnant. I want to give you all a full show. I'm going to do it next year. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, she's not known to be a performer like that. So her coming up there just kind of, moving her hands like, she playing the Michael Jackson Wii game, it works for her. Beyonce couldn't go out there and do that. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a performer on a different level.
Real. No, but because Rihanna is real and connected to her audience,
well, that too.
She can walk out on stage pregnant. So performance-wise, am I a fan of the performance? No. Now, here's what I tell you. Even if she wasn't pregnant, she's not Beyonce on stage. Mm-mm. But she connects to her audience. And so you know what the talk of it was? Like 90% of the people, like you have to understand, when, like this is for the fellas. Wasn't none of the women talking about no goddamn performance. They was all talking about Riri pregnant. I got on the phone with somebody that I was talking to that went to a Super Bowl party. She was like, "Did you see Riri, nigga?" She was like, "She pregnant."
She's one of those artists, though, that I think people are fans of her as opposed to her as an artist. But again, that's about her connecting. Darius Campbell with the super chat says, it was a defensive hold, Coop. But what about Philly? Sorry defense in the second half. Couldn't get one stop. This is the thing, Coop, and I'm going to let you respond to that. But it's always whenever you talk about one play, people will start talking about the whole half. No, it all comes down to one or two plays. I mean,
it does. Football, how about this? Football games are decided like when all things are equal, you have to look at it like this. The Eagles had the better team, but Patrick Mahomes is great enough that he's an equalizer. So all things are equal on that field. And what happened was that there are two plays that decided that game that didn't go in the Eagles' favor. The first was a fumble by Jalen Hurts because he couldn't get his footing. He changed his cleats after that, okay? Because the field was soggy and wet and players were slipping, and Hurts wasn't the only one that slipped. He was just the first one that really slipped. It cost them a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So that did have a part to play in it. The second part was that PI call. So you have to understand both of the plays, because the game usually comes down to a play or two. One play happened really early. One play happened really late. They both went in Kansas City's favor and not in the Eagles' favor, and that's why they won. But what I'm saying, one of those plays shouldn't have went in their favor. Right, because you should have let them play football.
Yeah. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, what if Mahomes wins 4 titles and 6 MVPs? Would that be considered enough? Double the MVPs and 3 less titles.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's really football is tough to win a title, man. Like if we look at Brady's first 3 years, he had 3 his first 3 years and didn't get those other the fourth one until way down the line, and he was in the Super Bowl a bunch of times after that. So, to even say 4, it's like we kind of got to let this thing play out, man.
I mean, first of all, people have to understand the people who had 4 before Brady did it got it within a 10-year period. That's Bradshaw and Montana, okay? So the league, the NFL catches up to you fast. It's hard to keep up. And here are some things you need to look at. First of all, I think this is a great accomplishment for Mahomes because Tyreek's not there. But you do have Kelsey. Having Kelsey's like having Gronk, like having Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that. Okay, Kelsey is not getting younger. He's getting older.
Yeah.
And at the tight end position, when it happens strikingly fast, even faster than it happens for a wide receiver because you're banging up against offensive linemen, some even though he's more of a receiving tight end. So understand that his greatest weapon and asset on the field is about 8 years older than him. Okay.
Right.
So they're going to have to find somebody viable because Kelsey is really what won them that Super Bowl with some of like his consistent work and how he demands coverages and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to look at that. Mike, Andy Reid ain't getting no younger either. No. And Andy Reid, low key, Mike, Andy Reid is giving Belichick some low key run for his money because it's like he's really kind of been saying the last few years, well, give me a Tom Brady-esque type of player and competitor, and I can do what you did. Because he's kind of doing something comparable to it with this run he's been on with Kansas City. Because, Mike, Kansas City really been running the AFC since Andy Reid got there. And Tom Brady was the only one stopping that shit because now we're seeing that Tom Brady is gone. It wasn't Belichick stopping the shit.
No, that's real.
And so Andy Reid's having a legendary run with two franchises because he already had a legendary run with Philadelphia, which, by the way, went to a Super Bowl and lost to who? Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so it looked like Tom Brady been getting in the way of Andy Reid's legacy a lot.
He's been getting in the way of everybody. Leroy Green with the super chat. We got Leroy in the building. He says, the Jay-Z albums with hits, you guys hate. The albums with substance, you guys hate. Any direction Jay chooses, he can't win with y'all. Clearly, 444 is a concept. That can be true, Leroy. But regardless of if it's a concept album or not, will you admit that the beats in the production's not good, right? Will you admit that? Will you admit that the delivery of this concept wasn't the best?
No, hold on. I see Leroy. No, Beyonce doesn't connect with people. People idolize and
she doesn't talk enough to even connect.
She don't connect with people. Where? When?
People don't know anything about her.
We know nothing.
Yeah. No. She doesn't do interviews. Michael did more interviews than her, and he rarely did interviews.
Rare.
Yeah. J.I. Designs with the super chat says, and we not finna talk about a team getting calls. The Patriots were notorious for getting all the timely calls. That's true.
They were also notorious for making all the timely plays. It's like those film and those footages of like Brady marching down the field like Super Bowl after Super Bowl, those are not imagined, and most of those are penalty free.
Yeah, and it wasn't like flags.
I watched him do it against my Carolina Panthers and Julius Peppers in his prime.
I watched him do it against my Falcons. There were no flags involved in that shit.
No.
None. And you know what? I will give him the tuck rule against Oakland. That happened. That's
the only time. The tuck rule is the only time. And I've always said, no. The tuck rule is some bullshit.
And he wasn't screaming at the refs to get the tuck rule either.
Well, he wasn't Tom Brady either. He didn't become Tom Brady until after that.
Yeah, when he had all his Tom Brady powers, he wasn't out there trying to get bailed out. Even that game against the Giants, the undefeated season and whatnot. When they lost the Super Bowl, he was like, shit, let's get down the field, march down. Yeah. And they just didn't have enough time.
The Giants defensive linemen still talk about, we respect Tom because we were beating his ass and he was getting up. They were like, he was getting up and chewing out his offensive line. He wasn't complaining to the refs. The Giants defensive line was saying that about him in that Super Bowl. They were like, no, we was tagging his ass and we knew he was hurt. And he was getting up and cursing out the offensive lineman like, block these.
I remember that.
Yeah, they talked about that. Like, wasn't no point in it, no ref, like, give me a call.
Yeah, give me a call to bail me out. Come on, guys.
Take this L, man.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I know people hate self-promotion, but I feel like De La Soul should have done more. We want our legends to be humble, but then we don't do the right thing. You know, I guess I could say his name. Kanye West. I hope we don't get docked for that. But
we'll see.
He did a great job of making sure that, people were noticing what he was doing. He didn't allow himself to be put in this backpack humble range. Like, he hung around the backpackers, but he was making sure he was as arrogant and as brash as possible. So for all the MCs like Common, Mos Def, Black Thought and Talib that were getting quote unquote slept on back then, he wasn't gonna let you do that to his College Dropout album.
And here's the thing about it, and you may not like it, but you have to respect it. I'm going to speak to somebody, and I want to speak to something right quick. When we were doing the Havoc and Just Blaze verses, and I was going through Havoc's catalog, it's like the only multi-platinum certification he has as a producer is with Kanye on The Life of Pablo for the So Famous. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, this is why Ye be on the shit that he be on. Because you got somebody like a Havoc, and to be quite frank, Mike, I mean, like, how many people outside of real hip-hop circles know who Havoc is as a producer, as opposed to who knows Kanye? That's why Kanye always running around beating his chest, because he knows that there are guys like Havoc, like production-wise, like, let's keep the MC side of it out. You know, there are guys is like Havoc, Large Professor, walking around, Prince Paul, walking around, Madlib, walking around, where it's like Pete Rock walking around. He like, man, fuck that.
But he brings them in.
No, he does.
He had Madlib on.
They get their best, and they get their highest level certifications attached to his name.
I think Madlib too. Something. When you talk about Life of Pablo, because he made No More Parties in L.A. Yeah. I was just listening to that, by the way, because Pablo's celebrating like his 7th anniversary, and that was one of, in my opinion, I think that's one of Kendrick's strongest features too.
It is. Yeah. Album's still some mid, but yeah, the feature's good.
I like the album, but it's not based on his catalog. Yeah, it could be some. I tell you this though, if we put that album up against, if we put that album up against 444, it's killing 444.
First of all, it's destroying 444.
It's destroying 444.
Good. I've been telling y'all 444 is not good.
Yeah, put Life of Pablo up against 444.
No.
Destruction.
Life of Pablo isn't that good. 444 isn't good at all. There's a difference.
Leroy Green.
Not that good, not good at all.
Leroy Green says Jay got Nas on Substance on 444 versus KD1. So substance over quality of music, and substance is.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Substance is subjective. It's you know what I mean, like
when you're talking about substance, okay.
So now we're just gonna deduce it to substance.
No. We have to be careful when we talk about substance and hip hop in relationship to what we like. Let's do a little dive into some of our most heralded hip hop albums, and let's see how like positive and affirmative the subject matter is. Let's start at the top, Mike. Illmatic, Life's a Bitch. I believe New York State of Mind starts off with a shootout in a project building. You feel what I am saying? Let's go to Only Built for Cuban Links, which is literally centered around a black mafioso gangster thing. Mike, have you heard the Chronicle Doggy Style? Can I introduce you to an album that's called Ready to Die? It's called Ready to Die. There's a song called Ready to Die. It ends with a song called Suicidal Thoughts.
No facts.
Now, are these not some of the greatest albums we've ever heard? There's an album called The Infamous by one of my favorite rap groups, Mike. The singles are Survival of the Fittest, Give Up the Goods, and Shook Ones. Now, what the fuck do you think they're talking about?
So hold on.
A positive black theme?
Because when someone says substance, though, what do they mean? Do they mean positivity, or do we mean loaded, reality rap? You know what I mean? Because you could say that Straight Outta Compton has substance. You know what I mean? It does.
Like, this is what I mean about reality rap. It's like, well, part of the reason why I'm such a Raekwon fan is because he does great reality rap. Like, Knowledge God, Mike. Like, when he says shit like, sometimes a nigga bought nines and tests with mines, he's letting you know, it's like, no, I'm buying the product. No, I'm using the product sometimes too. I test the shit. You know what I'm saying? I do it. It's like, that's not the most positive image to be giving, that you're buying cocaine and trying the cocaine out. Now, is it?
No.
But is there substance and depth to that by saying that, though? Is there connectivity to that? It's like, yes, so when you're talking about substance, it's like, are you talking about like Aquemini and It Takes a Nation of Millions to hold us back? Because it's like, them the only two albums up in that echelon that have that type of quote-unquote substance. Like that black power and theme. You get what I'm saying? It's like the rest of the stuff that we herald is like all time Reasonable Doubt, Mike.
Yeah. And again,
we're not indictment record.
I'll tell you this. If Jay is rhyming with
like the Rico on the album.
If Jay is rhyming at the same tenacity and same production on as he is on Reasonable Doubt with the subject matter of 444, I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, man, this album's some mid because he rapping with substance. No, it just doesn't sound as good. You know what I mean?
It's
It's
not
just
good.
bottom line. Like, he's
Like,
not rapping as good, and it doesn't sound as good. The production's
hold
not
on.
as good. You know what I mean? Like, let's put the Blueprint up against 444. It has nothing to do, really, with what they're talking about per
Right.
se. It's about the approach, the excellence of the production, and how great it sounds. You know what I mean? I'm not falling in love with the records because he's saying bad things. Actually, I think Heart of the City and Song Cry are some of his strongest songs. And they're
Yes.
not negative songs per se.
How about Mike? The Untitled album is full of great themes.
Yeah.
No. Give me that gangster shit he talking on it was written. It's just better music. The music is better. Like the whole mafioso shit he talking on it was written. No. That is better than Untitled. You give a damn about no message when the music don't sound as good.
Yeah, the music
Alexa, play the setup.
The music has to be as great as the message. I mean, it is what it is. And the reality of the situation, Coop, if your message is great, the music has to be that much greater.
It actually does.
You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
That's why we give Public Enemy such gravitas and such credit. It's like you were able to make a whole album like that.
Exactly, a whole career like that.
And it competes with this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that can't be the time where you choose lackluster production and lackluster flows and no standout records.
It can't double down.
Because it feels like that's the caveat, though. Like, you know, I could go out there and pick lackluster production and not have bangers, but people could say, yo, I'm dropping knowledge on here, though.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, 36 Chambers with the super chat says, I cheated on my wife and I'm a billionaire. Is Substance on 444 now?
See what I'm saying?
We can't be calling a mid product a concept album just because it wasn't good and just because of who it is. Shit, I added that last part, but that's what it is.
What are we doing?
J.I. Design with the super chat says, how good was Brady when he had a trash offensive line? Mahomes' offensive line was compromised, and Andy Reid just had a serious family issue right before the Super Bowl against the Bucs.
First of all, Andy Reid always has serious family issues because Andy Reid's an NFL head coach, therefore he's never at home for his family. So there's that. And I hate to be harsh about it and just be straight crass about it like that. That's what the fuck it is. And so ain't nobody in any of those other locker rooms trying to hear that shit because they're not at home with their families either.
Everybody got issues.
Right. Next, how many Hall of Fame offensive linemen have played with Tom Brady? How many offensive linemen are in the Hall of Fame that play with Tom Brady? Mike, go ahead and look it up right quick.
I don't know.
Because people talk about him, like people talk about Tom Brady like he's just like played with these all-time great stellar offensive linemen who are all sitting in the Hall of Fame. And it's like, I'd like to know where they are.
Let's see. How many Hall of Fame offensive linemen?
Because think about it. He played 22 years? Most of the guys he played with, half the guys he played with aren't playing anymore.
Yeah.
How many of them are in the Hall of Fame? He didn't play with a lot of Hall of Famers like people think. I
don't really see anything. I'm gonna have to search for that. I'm sure the people out there can give a deep dive. That's not something
Mike,
that just
I don't
pops
think
up.
there's one yet. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's not one offensive lineman that Tom Brady's played with that I think that's in the Hall of Fame.
Darren Harris with a super chat says, I see why you like Baby Be Mine, Mike. You're a big Pharrell fan like me, and you can hear that song is one of the fathers to the Neptune style. Definitely.
Maybe. You know. Oh, I can hear that now that you're saying that. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, can you do a QB's Finest versus the Dynasty like you guys did the Black Album versus It Was Written? I think we're going to have to play the music for those. And that's going to have to be a Patreon thing. And I would definitely love to do that. I think the Dynasty wins, but, you know.
We can footnote that. I'll do the Dynasty versus QB Finest, Mike. It's not going to go the way y'all think. It's not going the way y'all think.
Uncle Fran with the super chat says, Coop, I feel they only have sonic tones for what you think is good hip-hop records on Jay's Kingdom Come. The intro, Lost Ones, and Beach Chair are better than anything on Hip Hop Is Dead.
See, he just said beach chair, so Unc is disqualified for saying that. He is
I
disqualified.
don't like
Disqualified.
Beach Chair. I'm not gonna
Because
lie
it's
to
not
you,
good,
Uncle
Mike.
Fram. But I do feel you. The song Kingdom Come's better than everything on there.
Okay, so I don't agree with that statement. Because
That
I think
song is
I think
crazy.
Can't Forget About You and Hustlers and Black Republic are better than Kingdom Come. But I'm not. I don't be. I'm just not a. I'm not a fan of that album at all. But if you wanted to say that, it's like, well, it doesn't have 3 records that compete with the 3 records that I just named on that album. Because
I
after
think
Lost
Lost
Ones
Ones
is
is
a
a.
drop off.
I think
No, after
Lost Ones
Kingdom
is a
Come and
dope
Lost
record.
Ones. No, I said 3 though, because after Kingdom Come and Lost Ones, there's a drop off. I got Can't Forget About You, Hustlers, and Black Republic.
Show me what you got to banger.
I got the Ye joint too. So I got 4. That's what I'm saying. So even if you want, did you just say show me what you got to banger?
It
Next
is a
topic.
banger.
Mike, that record is trash. Mike.
Oh no, man. I don't dislike it
Tell
like
me
that.
what you got, baby. Wait. What? No, that shit is whack, Mike. That shit is whack.
No, it's not whack.
Nigga doing Budweiser commercials now. I'm like, yo, I'm like,
Yeah, it was some
get your money,
Showtime.
keep the record.
That was some Hollywood Hope. I'll say that.
Get your money, keep the record.
Deontay Smith for the super chat says, B is better. B is a better performer, but that's it. Rihanna has better quality hits and better overall albums. It's interesting y'all feel that way. Listen, I know Beyonce's music. I know the albums. I'm not gonna lie, like I sit here and listen to both artists album for album like that. So I'll trust where you're coming from. But I do think in a versus, a 20-song matchup, I could see Rihanna possibly taking that. But when I look at the talent of the individual, it's not even close. But I hear what y'all are saying. Andrew Green says, I love QB's Finest album, but I listed to be fair and objective. Dynasty is better, though. Also, I was going to let Untitled and 444. I was going to list Untitled and 444, but those albums are good, in my opinion. Just not great.
No, neither one of those albums are good.
We just listened to 444, man. I'm sorry, guys.
Album's not
444 is
good.
not good, man.
It's not. Neither is the Untitled album, Mike. Don't nobody want to. It's got the Queens Get the Money that Jay Electronica produced.
Yeah.
It's got Fried Chicken with Busta Rhymes. It's got the actual song Slave and the Master.
I like Slave and the Master.
All right, that's about it, Mike. After them 3 records, it's like the rest of it's like, oh, that's cool, great concepts. It's like, okay, all right.
Right, you want to talk about substance now. Now that record has substance, but it doesn't translate. A lot of substance on Untitled.
Project Roach.
Yeah, a lot of substance.
All types of substance.
Inspector with the super chat says, we didn't want to hear 444 from Jay either. I mean, whether we wanted to hear it or not, it's the artist's job to make you want to hear it. If the music comes together right and the production, I think the production's a big issue. And again, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on the producer on said album, but yeah, I've just never really been a fan of his production style like that. Not for a whole album.
I always said the biggest problem with the album was the production first. I've always said that. It's like, no, it ain't Jay. It's like, let's talk about these whack beats first. It's like, don't nobody want to rap and listen. Like, don't nobody want to listen to this like grown-up rap elevator music. Don't nobody want to hear that, fam.
Including Jay. You got to think about the way he creates, right? He doesn't write anything, so most of the stuff is based on feeling. So the producer is very important in his process because if they're bringing some heat, he's going to match that heat. And the lack of the production, it translated over to him. Lackluster production translates over to him. Let's think about this. What do you think is Jay-Z's best song or best rap performance on a song where the production wasn't there?
Okay, so I don't see. This is what I'm saying about like Jay and how epic he is. Like some of that stuff, it's like I don't love all of that production on Reasonable Doubt like that, Mike. Like look at something like Politics as Usual. Like how great is that beat to you?
I think it's dope.
I think it's dope, but how great is it? It's like that's what I'm saying. Like
it's better than everything on 444.
Oh, I mean, oh God. Okay,
but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying?
Let's scale back. Let's stay off of Reasonable Doubt. Let's go. Let's go somewhere else. Let's look at something like Mike,
because usually when you get like a mid song from Jay, right, like a pop for rock, the beats kind of big. You know what I mean? Like he's matching the production.
S. Carter. I was actually thinking Volume 3, S. Carter.
Yeah, songs like that, or even the Blue Streak song. Like when the beat is submitted, you're gonna get that out of him. But when you get something like a Jigga, where the beat's doper, he's gonna come through.
No, you know what? You're actually speaking to something. Those were some of the similar sentiments that I had about the Black Thought and Danger Mouse pairing with Cheat Codes. It's like, well, if you actually listen to when Danger Mouse gives Black Thought a super nasty beat, it's like, oh, well, he gets super nasty on the beat when we do that.
And I think that's where the problem is in 444 because the soundtrack just wasn't laid. I think that, Jay is Jay. He's great. So if he gets better production, he's going to be better.
The beat's not good. The rhymes are not up to par for the artist that was delivering the rhymes. And the songs just wasn't that good. And that's just it at the end of the day. And it happens. I'm not even trying to harp on it or making it seem like it's like, oh, well, this only happens to Jay. It's like, no, this should be happening. It just gets notarized more because of who it is, because of his stature and his status in the game currently and all time. So it's like, no, when you make some whack shit, it's going to be recognized and talked about more because we don't expect you to make whack shit.
And then we got to be perfectly honest. He hasn't really made a solo album to the level that we know him to be in 14 years.
But here's the thing about it. How about this? The Blueprint 3 isn't whack though, Mike. 444 is whack.
Yeah. And that's different. And so is Magna Carta.
I don't even think Magna Carta is whack. See, Magna Carta is okay to me. It's just okay.
No, Magna Carta is kind of whack.
It's pretty bad.
But at least it has that On the Run song. That was getting some burn. Fuck with me,
no,
you know
that
I got
matters.
it.
Like that's what I'm saying. No. Your stature and your stature and your stats and your status, like it all matters.
Yeah.
Like all those things matter.
J.I. Designs with the super chat says, I've been saying Beyonce can't hold a candle to MJ, Prince, Marvin, Stevie, Aretha, Anita, and people get mad at me because they think I'm being sexist. Well, I mean, you can't be sexist. You mentioned Anita and Aretha and stuff. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I think that she's talented. I don't really know what classic artist to kind of correlate her with because all of these people that you named are like amazing vocally, and not
Beyonce?
that she's. Yeah. All the people.
Diana Ross.
And she's a better singer than Diana Ross, but I feel you. Star power. But see, Diana has better songs, so.
Diana, but that's what I'm saying.
That's the trade-off.
And even with having, and this is what I mean, even with the better songs, she's more connected to the audience than even Beyonce is. Her fucking super diva ass is more connected. It's a super diva too. She's super diva.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
That's what I mean. It's just like, no, she on some Diana Ross shit like times 10, but it's like Diana would be the closest comp in the totality of it when I look at it. When I look at the film, the video, the visual aid, the live performance, the whole je ne sais quoi that comes with the personality and the persona. It's like I'm Diana Ross, bitch. You know?
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, Tamia needs more love. 1,000 times better singer than Beyonce. Tamia was at the show last night. Shout out to Tamia and Grant Hill as well. Everybody was in the building.
And Grant Hill.
Yeah. Tamia is an incredible vocalist. I mean, I think her and Deborah Cox are two of the most understated vocalists of their era. They're both Canadian, by the way. Both from Toronto.
Grant Hill is the reason that I'm a Duke fan, Mike.
Grant Hill's the truth, man.
Grant Hill's the greatest player, I think, that was ravaged by injuries. Because I think he would. Because I think he was going to be. I think how about this? I would take him over McGrady, like prime.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think people understand, man. Grant Hill was LeBron before LeBron.
He was LeBron before LeBron.
Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that he's LeBron athletically, but the guy who could go out there and do everything from a small forward position.
No, Mike. I saw him play at Duke athletically, not that far. Not LeBron, but not that far behind, Mike.
Yeah, he could do everything.
Not that far behind.
He could pass, rebound, score. What you need me to do?
He was getting triple. Him and Jason Kidd were getting triple doubles when it wasn't common to get a triple double. When literally the only people who had got triple doubles were Magic and Bird. It was like, and then Jason Kidd and Grant Hill popped up, and it's like, oh shit, like these dudes can ball.
Yeah. 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat says, Beyonce's biggest fan base are people who listen to her informative years, so no longer recognize when something isn't good. Nostalgia blinds you. Same with Jay fans now. They're all stuck in the late 90s, early 2000s. I
No,
think 36 Chambers, to be honest, as a Jay fan myself, and, his
they're not
resume
stuck.
speaks for itself. But I can kind of see where he's coming from because they're acting like Fat Joe just did this, and I don't think we've talked about this on the show yet. But we just stated that 444 and Holy Grail are submit, and then we
Hmm.
have to go all the way back to Blueprint 3, which was '09, to
Just to
really
get a good
find the
album.
solo album that really fits in his catalog that can actually have songs that would be on the greatest hits. And
Hmm.
people want to sit here and act like he made that yesterday or something. That's not the reality. Like the
No, hold on, but
consistency
this
that
is
we're
what I'm
used to
saying.
seeing
That's the
from him,
power.
it's not real.
It's not real, but that's the power of his fan base,
Hmm.
keeping him current and kind of speaking that way about him. So this is one of the things that I've been trying to unpack and get people to understand is it like, well, how much of a fan are you really? Like for me, and I was telling you this behind the scenes. Well, I ain't the biggest and the best motherfucker about going to rap shows. I don't like rap shows like that, Mike. It ain't how I like spending my hard-earned dollars. I'd rather spend my money on Anita or Sade or Babyface or Jill Scott or Erica Badu. Damn show Prince, Michael, and Janet. You feel what I'm saying? God rest the dead, and Janet's still here with us. But it's like, oh no, if Janet coming to town, I'm looking at that ticket. Rapper coming to town, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that includes Jay and Kanye, just because it's like I don't think, and that's just how I think about stuff. You get what I'm saying?
I
So
hear
for me,
Kanye puts on a show. I haven't seen Kanye live. I remember my guy Mike Goins up in DC, man. He hit me up like 3 in the morning one time. Mike, I'm tripping. We all know each other. Mike Goins from back at Dave Buster's. And I talk to Mike every now and then, but he hit me up at like 3 in the morning after he went to, I think it was the Yeezus tour. He's like, bro, it's the best show I ever seen.
no. I go to the shows. I say I'm not big on going to them. Like
Yeah,
that ain't the shit that excite me. Like I was at Pusha T show. It's like, oh no, it was a dope show. I love him. He's my guy. It like that ain't the same as when I had floor seats to see Sade. I'm sorry.
I agree. I agree.
Just gonna keep that shit real with you. It's like I know Pusha T concert about to be as good as floor seats to see Sade. And if you niggas think that shit, you fucking tripping.
Hey, 2 Chainz was in the building last night too at the Anita concert. Everybody was
Look here,
taking it.
man. 2 Chainz smoked weed at Kasim Reed's fucking mayor event that I used to fucking manage. I was like, they're like, Armani's just rolling up and smoking the weed. It's like, oh, well, just ask them to go outside.
Jay Short with the super chat says Beyonce's music is flat and calculated. A lot of times it's not about pure vocal talent, it's about the depth and emotion in your voice. Beyonce has a Kendrick quality to me. Technically proficient, but I think these are fair assessments from fans. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says Brady got bailed out against Oakland in '01. We said that.
We've already talked about that. We said it was
That's
some
about
BS.
it. If you got to go all the way back to '01,
Think about where you're going. You're going to 01. Like, how about this? Like, I'll tell you this is that, like, the closest thing he had to a bailout, Mike, the Kansas City AFC Championship in Kansas City, the defensive lineman jumped off sides. But, Mike, guess what? He actually literally jumped off sides. Like, it
Yeah.
was an obvious penalty. Brady threw an interception on that play. But the defensive lineman jumped offside. Mike, do you want to know why he threw the interception? Because the defensive lineman was about to
jumped
hit him because he had jumped offside. What are we
Exactly.
doing? What are we doing?
Eric Terrell with the super chat says Sade, Tony Braxton, SZA are greater than Beyonce, Mary, and Riri. And
Fascinating.
I mean, this is what's fascinating to me, and I'm not trying to be funny. How does Rihanna get in these R&B discussions? I don't feel like she makes R&B music. Now, you can say whatever you
I
want
remember-
about Beyonce. I feel like she makes R&B music.
Hey, Mike, do you know where I really first got acquainted with Rihanna? Opening the Midway in Dave and Buster's when I used to bartend for them when I first met you back in the day. SOS used to play
SOS was
on
playing
the
a lot.
screens, but it used to be on the screen every morning. I said, who's the pretty Caribbean girl?
Pon de
That was
Replay
it.
was the first record I got acquainted with her.
Yeah, SOS was my shit, and she was a Caribbean sensation. She wasn't pop, she wasn't R&B, she wasn't anything. She was a Caribbean sensation that hadn't made it to the States yet. I'm like, what the fuck is this SOS shit? I'm like, she's popping.
The only real R&B record that I feel like she made is the record with Neo, "Hate That I Love You." Like
Umbrellas.
Is it? That's more poppy. You know what I mean? I feel the same way
somewhere
about
in the middle.
even
Somewhere
the
in the
record with Justin Timberlake, Rehab. That's
No,
not
you're right,
really
Mike. She really doesn't
She
do
didn't really
like.
make R&B.
No, you want to know what? No. Which album is the album that has diamonds?
The one that had it's talking about "Shine Bright Like a Diamond."
Yeah, and pour it up. Like no, that's her R&B shit. That's her R&B.
Is that
album.
R&B
There's
shit? That's more
no,
like some club
she's R&B
shit.
on there. It's no. See, that's what I'm saying. We were. How about this? I hate to say it. It's like because we were like in our late 20s, early 30s when that was coming out. We didn't realize that that's what the new R&B sounded like.
Well, I mean, I was in the club heavy at that point, and it was like, yeah, I was hearing her stuff in the clubs heavy, so I never really considered it R&B. Kind of like when Chris made "Loyal" and shit like that was popping. But I guess that's what R&B sounded like. Yeah.
I used to frequent quite a few spots around that time. Like it was very, very hard not to hear Rihanna in this city.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Pull it
Grab
up,
a little money out the glove box.
Bitch better have my money. I shouldn't curse on our YouTube. J.I. Designs with the super chat says, I agree with y'all. Yes, it was a letdown to the end of the game to end the game like that. However, the comeback that held the receiver twice. I'm sorry, the cornerback that held the receiver twice admitted that he did it. He did admit. I mean, what's he gonna do? He's got to do.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
I feel like we're real behind on the super chats. But go ahead.
It's the Super Bowl. The man overthrew him by 10 yards.
Yeah.
It ain't like he overthrew him by a yard or two.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Be a bad sport and say that he didn't do it? You know what I mean? Like he's supposed to. What are you gonna say? Let me run through these super chats, Coop, so we can catch up and move on. Mad Max says they stats misleading. 113 million. We're already watching 5 million turn in for Riri. Like, don't exaggerate. I think he's talking about the halftime. Yeah, I mean, more people are going to watch the halftime than the game anyway. It just is what it is. CJ Kidd with a super chat says, thoughts on Scarface versus Willie D convo about the Grammys. I was actually going to bring that up because that was piggybacking off of the second thing that 007 said. Did you hear about that?
I heard what Willie D said. Why, the Scarface comment?
Well, you know, they got a podcast together, so they talked about it straight up. And so the way the conversation went was Scarface, well, Willie D said, you know, he felt slighted, more than slighted. And so Willie D was like, Scarface just told him, like, he was like, what you doing this weekend? He's like, man, I'm going to go do some Grammy stuff or whatever. He told him, safe trip. And Willie D's like, you didn't really tell me, you know what I'm saying, exactly what was going to be going on. And Willie D's thing is the fact that Scarface was performing, a Ghetto Boy song. And he was like,